Hello and welcome to Chris Mars Music. Today's discussion delights come in the form of emerging and hugely talented singer-songwriter Chris Ostler. We talk about his musical inspirations, songwriting, recording and social media, amongst many other topics. The thing I love about conducting these interviews is how much I learn from everyone's experience, and this is no exception. So sit back and enjoy another enlightening interview from a very talented artist, Chris Ostler. Right. Chris Ostler, welcome to my YouTube channel.
Oh, thanks for
Take
having me.
one. I
Oh,
haven't
I
got any
love
chalk
it.
or written anything on that, but it's
Oh,
do
that's
that with
so
everyone
cool.
now. It's great. So how are you, Chris? How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good, thanks, buddy. Doing good.
Good.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm very, very well, thanks. Yeah. So, as you know, my channel and podcast is all about music, and we haven't actually physically met as such, or have we?
Not had that pleasure physically yet, but I know
No.
we've done various things through the supergroup and
Yeah,
talking some things.
the supergroup. Yeah, the supergroup is something I'm going to be interviewing Graham about to discuss in more depth at a later day. But yeah, we met through the supergroup, which we will explain about later. But which is all about networking in the music industry and discussing our work and networking and helping others, cross fertilizing with songwriting, etc., etc. So tell us about where it all began with your music and where you are up to which point you are now.
Oh
How
wow,
did it begin?
yeah. Oh,
Musical
how
journey.
did it? So, I mean, yeah. I mean, well, yeah. I'll keep it in a nutshell because everyone's got an adventurous story of their own, haven't they? Where it
Yeah.
all started. For me, when I was younger, I still have memories of sort of making, singing, and creating from a very young age, and my sort of starting of it really came from my parents. My dad plays a little bit of bass guitar. I did some sort of bands on the Birmingham circuits when he was much younger and is in his 20s, and then passed a little bit of his sort of playing styles of his music influences and a lot of what he liked to sing and play along to over to me. Whereas my mother, she on the other hand, she was a teacher, and she would sort of play a little bit of acoustic guitar, but mainly sort of singing at at primary school level for kids, and would sing sort of lullabies to me when I was younger, and then I started just really taking those influences and singing in the shower, and ever since then, it's still happening to today. just
Yeah.
uh, just taking on your little singing in the showers and having your little moments, and the great acoustics in there. Do you think?
I think that's why most people who can't sing like to sing in the showers as well, because there's a bit of echo and it kind of disguises the bum notes, you know.
Oh man, yeah, all that a little bit of that reverb, those acoustics, the little delays as such,
Yeah.
and also you're kind of on your own stage, and all the steam is also really good as well for
Yeah.
singing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I kind of hum in the shower. I've
Oh
never really
yeah.
sung full pelt. No, I don't know why, but yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things, isn't it? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
That's all right. Yeah, it's nothing wrong with humming. I say sometimes I know you play keys to a very exceptional standard, and obviously from a musician point, there's probably going to be, a humming interpretation of, some people will sing and then they'll use words and things singing wise, but other people they might want to hum, they might want
Mm.
to dance. I probably wouldn't dance in the shower, slip hazards and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which instruments are you playing now, and how did you get into those?
So I mean, singing was kind of the starting one really from the early days of learning to shower properly and things. Made it more entertaining. The then From about 8 years old, I got in trouble with my teacher, and because I used to keep tapping and doing various sort of tapping rudiments on the table, I didn't really realize I was doing it, and then thought, you know what, I kind of want to feel like I play drums. So I had a couple of drum lessons and things from 8 years old. That took me to understanding a bit more about rhythm and progressions and structure and timing. And then my dad kind of pushed a bit more on how to actually play guitars and basses and things like that from about 12 years old onwards, really. I can remember still him playing a four-string bass and trying to show me with his hands where my fingers go on a six-string guitar while I'm holding the guitar. And he's like, oh, you have to imagine what the other two strings are doing. You know, you just imagine your two fingers down there and things. I'm there like, okay, just try and work that out there and things. But yeah, they're just those early seeds that the parents have kind of thrown onto me. And since using those, I've always enjoyed making little notes and songs and chords and kind of working what progressions go with different type of signatures. And yeah, just genuinely experimenting. And it's kind of carried on to today. So yeah.
Right. So you're doing this full time?
Fortunately, I'm doing it, full time now. So I did I did GCSE music at secondary school. I did college doing a BTEC music. Then I did my degree in music technology and performance. And then when I finished university, I had two part-time jobs over the sort of the 8 years from sort of leaving uni to when I was sort of then went full time. But I always did sort of music as much as I could around the part-time jobs so that I could throw my attention into playing music, doing gigs, function work, and getting really into the life experience, the proper grit of the playing side of it, really. And then 5 years ago now is where I started doing music full time with no other jobs, and then COVID hit just on the point where I just started. So you can imagine it's very fun, trying to figure out, okay, right, how are we going to get through this? And as everyone was at the time. So yeah.
So what was your first professional job as a musician? Do you remember?
Oh wow, first professional job.
Your
Okay.
first paid job?
Yeah, oh, interesting. Okay, so I think if I recall, it was at university. I played at I think it was called the Shed, which still is there now in Leicester.
Right.
And it's still in there. It's been refurbed and a bit things there, but it was quite a known place for lots of bands playing there. I think they're at the point, Kasabian had played there quite a bit in their sort of earlier days. So there was definitely attention and things. And it was doing a solo slot of just me, acoustic guitar, and playing whilst all these other bands were on the lineups, because I didn't have I didn't have a lot of time to throw myself into bands until like my second and third year. But I got paid probably about 30 quid because of the people that I brought in and things. So I was like, yay.
Yeah.
But, that was a little bit of money, and I was being a student at the time. A little sometimes goes a long way if you can use it right.
Absolutely. Yeah. What were your musical influences when you were growing up?
Oh, well, other than my parents, because I still remember them telling me before I was born. They actually told me when I was in my late 20s, just before I turned 30, that I apparently was kicking inside my mother in utero when my father would drive it with my mother in the early days, have the radio on and then turn the loud music up, and my dad would be, oh, there's this Ocean Colour Scene track or this Mike and the Mechanics track, and he turned the volume on louder, and then my mum would feel me kicking inside her. But in terms of musical influences, I think I like there's a huge range, really, because I really like my sort of country. I like my pop. I like my rock. I even like a bit of sort of the funk style music. Other than the popular, well-known ones like Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson and even Justin Timberlake, and then you go into more niche artists who've got some really good angles of songwriting, like Ole Baroud, Chris Stapleton, Rascal Flatts. There's a real nice color of taking little bits from each of those, like, oh, I'd like to see if I can maybe take that style of how he plays there and then incorporate into my writing in little ways to evolve my own taste in a way. So yeah, it's a melting pot broth of different flavors for sure.
Yeah. So you personally, what is your preferred method of recording? Which software are you using? What systems?
Ooh, preferred method. So nowadays I'm a very strong and very avid Logic Pro user. I
Yeah,
think
me
from
too.
a yeah,
It's very
it's a
easy to use.
it really is. It's come on leaps and bounds from when I had Logic 8 and 9, I think, in the early days. And then Logic 10 came out. I was like, oh, this is a revolution. And
Yeah.
I've dabbled a little bit with some other ones like some PreSonus, some Reaper, even some oh, what's that other one called?
Cubase?
Cubase, yeah, that was the other one. And
Yeah, I had that once.
Oh, there was also Pro Tools from university, but yeah, I just kept coming back to Logic because there was definitely a good thing with the amount what you could record with it, which was always great, the bit rate. But I also felt from a songwriting perspective, and playing around with some of even the simplistic tools of electronic instruments and things, just to kind of even get your demos right and understand what it is you wanted from the other instruments. It was a nice area to kind of have a little playground of instruments to kind of make some sounds, do some jams with yourself. And I even remember lots of times where I had them knocking on my door, and I had to speak to my landlord for oh, maybe you look like you're having fun, you sound like you're having fun, we can hear you having lots of fun, but just bring the noise level down a bit. And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, Logic's got a really good toolbox of instruments. I think it's got a great selection of tools at your disposal and makes it very easy to be able to use those to even for a complete novice. It doesn't take long to get around the actual software format
Mm.
and get used to and up and running. It's like a really pimped up garage band, really, isn't
Oh
it?
man, massively, yeah. If you can, it's almost like GarageBand was a way to kind of, if you wanted to use GarageBand and then find something better, then Logic is already pretty much laid out in a similar way to just jump on the back of and
Yeah,
things. It's I did a for one of my university projects. I remember doing. I had to teach a load of kids at primary school how to use GarageBand simultaneously, and
right.
I think that was a really nice module I did because I was able to kind of show this is what music tech can do, and all these kids were just literally on or about to understand what electronic music and recording music could do, and this is the music that they're hearing from games and TV shows and movies that they were doing, and how they dive into it. And I think they could understand that there was definitely something to be gained from this. As at 10 years old, they just wanted to throw themselves into it, and I think you can't beat that. You can't beat that.
No, I think it's fascinating how software has evolved over the last, say, 30 years. I mean, I remember having an Atari 1040 ST. I don't know if you remember those,
Oh wow,
but
what
that was
what was
like
that like?
well, I
Yeah.
threw it away now because don't use it anymore. But that was the early, well, it was Creator, C Lab Creator. I think that morphed into, was it Cubase or Logic? I can't remember now, but it was the very, very beginning.
Okay.
Everyone was using it. Trevor Horn was using it, and people like that. It was the go-to computer for sequencing, really, because you
Is
could
it?
sequence.
Oh.
Everything was done with MIDI.
Mm.
Um, so it's not much different to what it is today. I mean, today it's obviously come along in leaps and bounds, but with the advent of sampling and being able to sample at such a high bit rate, which is incredible.
Mm.
But yeah, it's changed so much. I'll be quite interested to know or interested to see how far it can go, in the next 20, 30 years. I mean, have you got any ideas or any thoughts on that?
It's
What you would like to see, perhaps, as a musician?
it's interesting really because I think there was the revolution of people doing the bedroom songs where they're able to make all their songs literally from start to finish in their bedroom. That definitely seemed to be like a movement for the youth of today to bring to labels' attention, saying, "Oh, we don't need to go all the way to Abbey Studios or these big high end recording places like Real World and things like that to do some of these. Obviously, they would sound, you know, amazing as if they were recorded there. But, you know, people have been definitely almost like keeping things in-house on their computer, using the tools from which they're given, and plugins. That's yeah, they do always seem to find new ways of doing them. I know. I think some of my friends, I can't remember what the name of them, but I know that they've been talking a little bit about AI in mastering and things, so that you almost put it in, you put your song in once it's mixed and EQ'd in the way that you like it, and then I think there's some people who, once they put it in, they then receive it back after the AI does something with its mastering capabilities using EQ, compression, and filtering and things. It's I what I would like to see from it is I don't know. I guess I'm interested in seeing more examples to see whether there's going to be some scope from it. I still think there's definitely a human element that, you know, that has that advantage over AI to, you know, getting certain feels in the group, the you know, reactions from how we experience certain certain sounds sonically and things. But I think it's just weighing out how we balance the AI to the human element, I suppose. Yeah, I think
AI is obviously, it's a brilliant creation, invention, the way it's going. I think it's got its place, but since it came on the scene, say a couple of years ago, or especially in the last 12 months, it's been with GPT and all this
ChatGPT,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing. But personally, I think that you can't substitute the talent with an algorithm. It just doesn't work. You know, I can't. Okay, you could put a track in and it'll analyze it better than any human brain can within a nanosecond, and come up with similar frequencies and master your track that way. Okay, we understand that, and it makes sense. But you try doing that with a huge, you know, maybe for a dance track it might be okay, but or you know, a simple dance track with just a simple rhythm and a few couple of instruments in the background, you know, with pumping bass and that I can understand, but you can't tell me that you're going to get like 100-piece orchestra, you know,
No,
like
no,
a huge score that's going to be mastered by AI. You know, it has to have that human touch.
I think it does. I think
All instruments, all those parameters need to be examined with the human ear to give it that to go pass through the human element to be able to be appreciated by the human element, as opposed to just pass through a computer system to be appreciated by the computers, just to satisfy the algorithms. It's a bit of a sad state of affairs, personally, I think. But yeah, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I think that's valid. I'm pretty much at a similar agreement with you because I think the human elephant, sorry, it's very tough.
Human
It's been a long
elephant.
day. The human elephant, yeah, the elephant human. The
There's the
human
pure
element.
elephant noise there.
Oh yeah, well, it's I think there is the human creative means in which we, you know, the feel of it, the reaction, and how we interpret the music in, you know, just almost like an emotional way, the feelings behind it. I can't see how you would, I mean, program that and get a good result in the way with as if a human wrote a piece. I mean, fair enough, like you said, yeah, Spectrum, they could probably analyze something, they could assess something, and I think, you know, that they are going to be unmatched in that area because they are able to delve into a whole load of parameters that are, you know, beyond our own sensory, you could say. But I think, you know, maybe as a human race, our brains could be used in many different other ways that we still, as a human race, don't necessarily know about. And I think as we keep pushing this creative envelope ourselves, I think we're still massively ahead of the game in which, you know, we have this element over AI and the digital side of things. I mean, what it will be like in 20 years, 30 years, I don't know. You know, there'll be a lot more data to assess for AI to pick up on if it does learn in that respects. But I kind of almost want the humans to kind of, you know, have this nice correlative relationship with the AI side of it, that we still get the control, we still get the, the final say of, it needs to have this, we need to have this reaction, because otherwise music then will not have the simple one function fulfilled, and that is to be listened to and enjoyed.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, what's your view on the unsigned independent acts versus acts signed to a label and things like that? What's your views between the contrast of you do one or the other as a music act?
That's a very, very good question. As a singer-songwriter myself, who's always wanted to be signed to a major label, but haven't so far, I think it's great to be able to be in control of your own musical destiny, if you like. Maybe not the destiny, but at least the direction that you're traveling, and have the artistic license by releasing it yourself. We all know how many acts get signed and get dropped, have a certain amount of success, and then they just move on. So it's a love-hate relationship with record companies and myself, because I have friends, a lot of friends who've been signed, who've had big hits, and suddenly it stopped, and they've ended up being lumbered with huge bills to pay from the advances and things like that, but mainly from the 80s and 90s. Those were those days. Things have changed now, because you don't get half as much as you used to. But I think there's a lot of work for the artist to do. Like, we had a private conversation the other day about marketing, that you telling me about your experiences, which was very interesting, which maybe we could talk about as well, because I think it's going to be good to share your experience of that firsthand to other people who may be watching, who would like to go down that road of releasing everything themselves, like we all do. But I think it's a subject that needs, if you're releasing on your own independently, there are so many plates you need to spin, or one needs to spin, especially not only from the recording and the mastering and the packaging, however you want to do it, of your material, but then to releasing it through the digital distributors. To my biggest bugbear is the social media aspects of it, which is a necessary, I wouldn't say evil, because social media can be really powerful and it can be very, very good, and I do enjoy it, but there are some very negative sides to it that we all know, but they're not really filtering through the music industry as such. But it's something that you have to navigate through, and to use. It's a storm. You're in a boat and you're sailing through a big, thick storm, but once you reach the other side, you're going to travel that distance, and you're going to be very happy for it. And I think it's traveling through that social media storm that is a really important part of being an independent artist. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think it's very different to how it was even 20, 30 years ago, with the concept of the independent artist as opposed to the signed on to major label. I mean, for me myself, I would like to find a label that I can work with, and I can actually be there releasing records and making some hits, and really connecting with my label in that way, and we're working together strongly to produce this amazing sort of style product for my fans and things like that, and all the other fans in the world that haven't yet subjected themselves to my music yet. But I think nowadays, the independent route nowadays that people are definitely going down, there will be people who will probably turn down a label because of how well the act has done all themselves independently. They've had to take on a lot more aspects compared to what it used to be now, as opposed to, I know you mentioned social media and marketing. There's definitely two aspects that we have more tools in this digital era than we did 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That allows people to push themselves out there and allow themselves to be seen by more demographics. And with the internet, it's me talking to someone on the other side of the world. It could be now perceived as a very common thing, rather than just however many years ago when the telephone was invented.
Yeah.
than just
Well,
having a
when the
simple
telephone
computer.
was invented, they said, "Oh, it's not going to catch on. Nobody's going to need it."
Oh, how wrong they were. They just
Yeah.
ran out. They ran out of pigeons on that day.
Yeah.
It's I think going down the independent route nowadays is definitely a stronger route because it educates you as an artist. It's like you said, if there are too many people who are inexperienced in the industry, they're picked up by a major label and they're subject to things that they don't necessarily know themselves what exactly is going on, the logistics, the administration, the formatting of how certain things are done in legals, what rights are given, what percentages of songs are done, how the tracks are made, what they're physically made, who earns what royalties through PRS, MCPS, PPL, ACAPs, or CCAP, in the ways that, you know, if you picked up straight on, you don't have any clue what any of this is now. Whereas as an independent artist, I like to say, I'm not completely clueless. I have a bit more understanding of how some of this is making me money, how I am earning from some of these royalties, and how I'm, you know, striving my own methods of, you know, this is my administration. This is how I usually find myself working in order to get more gigs, to find more people to listen to me, to spread myself out to other areas where I can play and meet more people and network and continue to grow as not just as an artist but also as a business. And if we don't make that understanding, we could almost, you know, you have this pot of money and then you'll just make a very big hole in the bottom of your cup and it will just all be gone.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
it's
I think,
educating yourself.
yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And actually, when you said as a business, that the music business itself, the business of actually earning from it and surviving from it, being able to pay your mortgage, your rent, everything that goes along with living, your bills, etc., is one thing. Um, trying to get that balance, I think, is such a it's a very fine. Well, how can I say this? Trying to find the words.
On the tip of your tongue. It's on the tip of your
It's
tongue.
on
You
the
got
tip of
it.
my. Oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah. It's well, okay. For example, take myself for example, as an entertainer for the last God knows how many years. I've made a very very good income living from performing. Even though that's not quite what I really wanted to do, was to play cover songs in clubs and bars and things. But I started doing that. But that led on to doing TV shows, being lead singer of a house band, doing major TV shows, working with big bands. But then when that kind of work stopped, then I always had the piano bar thing to fall back on, which I still do to this day.
Mm.
You know, but it kind of grounded me and allowed me to learn how to control an audience, how to address an audience, and deal with everything that goes with it.
Still got to
In the
see you at that piano bar as well at some point.
so,
I've got to see you at that piano
oh
bar
well,
at some point.
I'll be
So
there. I'll be
yeah,
there tomorrow.
I might not
um,
be able to make it tomorrow, but I will be there someday.
yeah, you
Someday.
have to come down. But it's what I'm trying to say is, again, as I said earlier on in our discussion about spinning plates, as a musician, I think we have to learn to appreciate what talent we have and how we can use it to earn money. Because there's no point being a musician and not earning a penny from it from your whole life. Otherwise, that's just not the way it works. You need to earn a living from it. So, going back to your experience, how would you, and actually coming on to the marketing side of things, because I personally I see two sides of it. There's the artistic side where you're writing, and learning everything that goes with it, mastering, engineering, everything, using compressors, getting the instruments onto the computer in the first place, everything that goes with it, getting PPL, ISRC codes, etc., etc., up to the release. There's that side, and there's the release, and then after that, the social media bit under a big umbrella. In other words, letting people know that you exist and what you've just produced and getting it to the people. So, how do you deal with that side of the business now?
It's I think it there's so many different ways of going about it nowadays. I think the way that I've only been able to, and I'll say just handling it, because I think, you know, we all have our good days, we all have our bad days. I think we can uh, all will admit to being as human as we can, because some people who say they don't get sleep and they just continue work, you know, you will burn yourself out eventually and things. For me, and this is something I wouldn't say I'm a master of it, because I'm far from it, to be honest. But I'd like to say that I'm still, and I'm proud to be, a learner of keeping balance with it. I almost want to take your example that you've got there, because you've made those two examples there of the engineering, the critical, the little specific details on one side. I want to take that kind of, I'll call the engineering technicalities, kind of piece of the pie. And then you've also got the other one, which is the almost like the artistic, everything looks very, very like what you might see in the modern world of, you know, the images are amazing and everything is, you know, aesthetically what you might see from a typical celebrity. But I want to introduce a third one, actually, to balance it out, which would be the balance of where I'm doing it. And I'm going to start doing more of it for 2024, is putting actually you yourself as an individual. I think, which is going to be you, how you are, your personality. Because lots of people say, oh, we really love this band, we really love the music. But then there's also some people that would be like, oh, we really like this band, their music's great, but also the characters, they're just really nice people. They're the people that you could ask and talk to them about anything. It's like some people really love talking to Dave Grohl and meeting him, things, because he's such a lovely down to earth guy, from what I've been told. And you know, being a nice, approachable, just a general person of who you are, people can see that. Not necessarily you're selling it as a product, but it makes you more approachable as an artist. It's like if you went and had an interview with, let's say, Jennifer Lawrence as a celebrity, you see the degree of her acting, you'd see the range she does with all of her different films and things of that nature. But you also see when she's on interviews that are, you know, on TV and things, or podcasts, she doesn't act like a celebrity. She just acts like herself, and you can see that she doesn't necessarily need to hold herself into a high esteem. She knows she's good, but she doesn't let that be, you know, oh, I should feel like I'm better than other people. You know, I don't ever think of myself as a celebrity, and I don't, for as long as I live and the days I have left on this lovely planet, I don't want to think of myself as a celebrity. I just want to be thought of as a guy who is passionate about writing songs, can be approached by anyone to write songs with, and, you know, is just, hopefully they'll say, a really nice person to talk to.
Yeah.
And I can say that hopefully about everyone else I've met, and including you, Mr. Mars.
Thank you very much. Well, I think, yeah, absolutely. I really do believe that what you say is so important, that you have to be a decent person. It's a people's business. It's not just a music business, but it's about people, especially when we're out there performing and interacting with people and playing our music to others. It's a connection. And once you get to that human point where, you know, if you haven't met somebody, but you've been performing to them and they love your music, and suddenly you meet them for the first time, that connection, if you want to be a real nasty person, they're never going to listen to you again. It's a second. You don't have to be a musician for that. That happens with everyday life, you know. But I think social skills are extremely important, which actually is something that I fear could be lost somewhere down the line with such an incredibly toxic social media influenza that is taken the world by storm, because it can be so toxic. As we know, it really is. Bullying and all this stuff, that's the negative side of it. But I think it is an issue that really needs to be spotted well in advance before it kind of draws you in. And I think filtering that on the music side, there are different levels of social media. You know, you've got the professional businesses that use it, you know, it's on their TV adverts, whatever. There are businesses that use it. There are brands, obviously, that use it. And then you got the celebrities, inverted commas, that use it. The celebrities who aren't celebrities, who are a complete waste of space, that
Yeah.
somehow have millions of views and subscribers for doing absolutely nothing, for being absolutely useless. And then you've got musicians who, like us, who use it to try and push something, some goodness through the stratosphere, and can find it quite hard to get to a higher level. This is my issue. I find I've always felt that a lot of musicians can either get it wrong, or we're doing something not quite right, or some do it right, some do it don't. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I feel that there are a lot of really talented people that should be much more in the public eye and have their music exposed to many more people around the world than they deserve. And finding that holy grail as to how you get to that stage, I think is something that I'd love to know. I really would. And if you can bottle it, you'll never have to work again.
That'd be nice, and I hope you've got a nice big bottle, because it definitely seems like there's a lot that goes into working with that. It's yeah, life is definitely an interesting way of paths and things. If you imagine a tree and all the different roots, and then you kind of feel like, oh, you end up from one place, you're going along these routes, and you then get to the main trunk, and you feel like, okay, this is where I'm going. Now I'm at the main route of the trunk. I'm doing what I'm interested in, which is, for us, would be our music careers and things. And then there's all those different tentacles of branches where we keep growing and going up. And so which routes do we take, or which spinning plates, in your terms, do we reach out to kind of, keep more work coming in, or keep meeting more people, or expanding our own experience of life and things. But I just hope that I'm a strong tree by the end of my life.
Well, it's a very, very good analogy, because the tree, because it's the beautiful trees that grow big and strong that will stay there. And if you keep at it, you will become stronger and bigger than all the other ones. Maybe that's the key. Maybe it's just keep going, and don't give up. You'll get knocked. The wind will blow you down occasionally, but you'll bounce back up again, bigger and stronger, and it does make you stronger.
Definitely.
Perhaps that has a lot to do with it.
Keep swaying them branches, people. You can do it. You're all beautiful people.
Absolutely.
Each one of you listening into this amazing podcast right now.
Never give up. That's what I say. And actually, there's an interesting thing to think about. I can't remember where I heard this, but it's about success. If you have 100,000 people that are trying to achieve the same thing, the vast majority of them are going to give up. That's a fact. Say 95% give up. So you have the time graph going along one way and the amount of people on the other. So time is going along, less and less people are there. You've got a better chance of success if you just keep at it, because the competition is going to be a lot less at the top or at the end as time goes by. As time's arrow continues into infinity, you're getting all scientific here now. More people are going to drop out because they're going to give up. It's just human nature to a lot of people. But it's the ones that persevere. A quitter never wins and a winner never quits. For me, that is one of the best ways of describing it. And if you don't quit, just keep going. Eventually, you will reach that destination. You will get the satisfaction of doing what you wanted to do in the industry. And you will have so much experience that experience will raise you up, whether you like it or not. That's my philosophy, and I'm going to stick to it.
I just want to call that right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is Chris's Mars bar of knowledge for the week.
It's the Mars bar, yes, it is indeed.
That is, yeah. Don't, try not to quote that from Mars bar or licensing agreements.
They're talking back to your music now. What are you currently working on or have released, and where is it available? Tell us about your music now, your next project. What's it all about now?
Well, we've had a terrific summer this year because we've not released one, not two, but we released 3 singles, all with their own music videos. each of them digitally available on Spotify, all digital music platforms. And they also have their own music videos on YouTube to correspond with it in case you like a nice visual blast of.
Fantastic. I have seen one of them. Very, very good.
Oh,
very
thank
good.
you. Appreciate
Excellent.
it. What we're doing now basically is we're just on the final cusps of finishing up. I think we've got. I'm just going to check my calendar now because I've finally sorted this out, and we are releasing an EP which will have the full length audio recordings of those singles, plus 3 extra tracks and a bonus acoustic track of one of those singles on an EP that's going to be released in February. I'm just checking the date now.
Right.
It is February the 2nd of the 2nd of February 2024,
Right.
which we're calling CO2. So yeah, just the second EP. I'm just looking forward to getting that out. And we actually have, in fact, you know what, because we're on YouTube, and I've just had them come back here, so I actually have physical copies of them.
Excellent.
Now. I've not said this to anyone, so you can you're the first. And
bring it a bit closer. There you go. Well, you have to send me a picture of that, and I'll whack it up on the screen.
I could send you a CD. And
excellent.
Yeah, all
very,
done
very nice.
All designed by me, and all sent to a place in America where I got them manufactured, and I just had all of them sent over from the States, all shrink wrapped, all ready to go. We're just finishing up, sorting out a little bit of details, and they'll be available for not just digital download but also physical. So yeah, that will be a nice extra thing for you guys to grab just Brilliant. After Christmas.
Well, I'm going to put all the links on here, and you'll see them now going across the screen magically. Here they are. They're appearing there right now. And
wow, this is amazing.
And also it is, isn't it? Yeah, they're all over the place, aren't they? It's amazing how they move. It's fantastic. Well, they're not really moving, but it's there anyway. And all the links will be available in the comments section, in the description rather, of this video. Plus, perhaps you'd like to tell us what they are. If you're listening on the podcast, then you can take note. Go ahead.
No worries.
Tell us exactly what it is.
So worst case scenario, my name is Chris Ostler. You can usually find all my music on digital platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Deezer, or worst case scenario, type it into Google, you'll definitely find me. But anything for dates and live music events, best places to go to will be Facebook, which is Chris Ostler Music. Any other, and you can also go to Instagram on same thing again, Chris Ostler Music. But lastly, if all else fails, you can always catch me on my own personal website, which is www.chrisostler.co.uk. You can even ping me an email and say hi, and love to chat to you.
Excellent. And what does the future hold for Chris Ostler?
Oh, so right now we're taking a little bit of a backseat for a little bit of a personal reason while setting up this EP. But you can't quite tell in the room at the moment. But I've literally yesterday been handed my moving date, so I'm moving house.
Right.
Just around the corner. But looking to hopefully get back into a new house with a new music room. So I can start making some new singles and new releases, hopefully at some point for 2024, after the EP is done. And looking back to writing again, so that'd be great. And
brilliant.
Even do a collab with you, Mr. Mars.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. I'd love to do that. Let's do that. Let's do that very soon. Going back to your releases, what is your preferred vehicle for releasing? Which distribution company do you prefer to use?
It's interesting actually, because the two best ones that I've used before are CD Baby and DistroKid. For the difference is they've got a lot of things that they have got that are really beneficial for artists releasing music either for the first time or doing it consecutively things. I've been using a lot more DistroKid for the moment, purely just because there is a little ease with some of the way that some of it works. But DistroKid has been my weapon of choice for the moment. But if you were looking at CD Baby, it's a very, very close second. I think DistroKid has a nice clause for anyone who wants to release cover material as such, and they want to release a single with that cover material. DistroKid will also do a thing where, because it's a cover, they will go out of their way with a bit of an extra fee to arrange the licensing for that said cover. So then, you know, if you decided to do a cover of Robbie Williams, for example, they would get the appropriate licensing for that, so that your cover could then be released.
I didn't know that, actually, because I've started using DistroKid about a year and a half ago. I released some material through DistroKid. Normally I use CD Baby and TuneCore.
Yeah,
have you ever used
another one,
TuneCore?
isn't it? I've only used it once, but I will admit, after I found CD Baby, I went from TuneCore to CD Baby. But yeah, I think TuneCore's almost like, is it every 2 years you pay for your songs being up there?
Every year. You pay every year.
Is
it can be quite expensive if you've got a lot of material out there. That's one thing I liked about DistroKid, is that you pay one off.
Yeah.
Which can help a lot on the financial side.
Oh, very much so.
And I also do believe that DistroKid make it easy for you to, when you have more than two writers, especially on Spotify, for example, if you've got stuff on Spotify where the royalties are split. As far as I remember, it was a lot easier on DistroKid than it was with someone like TuneCore or CD Baby, but I don't know for sure. But
that's good to know, actually. That's
some
handy tips, yeah. Because I went from TuneCore to CD Baby because I thought, rather than paying for every 1 or 2 years when it was with TuneCore, for each individual track, and having to renew that, for example, I kept paying with CD Baby for, once it was up there, the one-time payment, and then it's up there for forever, so to speak, almost like a guaranteed lifetime thing. But now I think DistroKid does offer that as an extra payment, if you want to do, I think they call it create a legacy, as an option to save you if your DistroKid account, for example, does get deleted or you just don't want to do it anymore. You can still, if you pay for the legacy plan with each of the songs or each of the releases through DistroKid, you can then still have the music up there for all of time. And then you're only just paying for the yearly membership, which is the what I usually pay for with DistroKid.
Right. One thing I noticed, which has happened to me a few times, is if I've released my material and have it played on, for example, on Instagram Reel or something like that, or YouTube, especially YouTube, even as I'm the writer and have registered it, they tend to pull it off the channel, saying that it's breached licensing, which I find quite bizarre, seeing as I am the person with the license. I don't know. I haven't had it. Well, I had it a few months ago with one particular piece of music, which I was very proud of, but suddenly it just disappeared. It was a video with a track, and yeah, they pulled it off on Instagram.
Off Instagram, did they? Not of YouTube.
YouTube and Instagram, both.
YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what's going on there. We'll have to look deeper into it. But I don't know if you've ever had anything happen like that.
I haven't had anything yet. I mean, I'm still I'm still ongoing reviewing the statistics of things. I think with DistroKid, there is when you obviously submit a track up and then you're putting it out, and you can ask for the other extra things, like whether you want this with it and such.
The YouTube one licensing.
Yeah, I think the reason behind that is because it's trying to decipher where the royalties will be collected from, and so then it's not duplicating royalties. And because I think I think the button is, from what I can remember, like some kind of content ID,
right?
I'm starting to think that I might have clicked that on all the singles I used, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But I think with the I think when once I know you told me a while ago that if you've got 500 subscribers on YouTube, then you can monetize your channel and things. So I think it's probably worth just considering, when you get to that monetization, there might be a point where if you're trying to collect the royalties from DistroKid, and if you click that YouTube thing, and if it's trying to collect royalties from YouTube, but then you're monetizing that, then there I would see if there's a conflict. But I mean, I can't see why it would be anything other different. That is an interesting case.
I have to look deeper into that, really.
Yeah. I'd raise it with them and be like, can you tell me exactly what the nature is of the thing, because I mean, I'm presuming you can prove who you are, because I know you, I know who you are, and
Yeah, I've sent them messages saying I'm licensed, and then it's appeared again, but then it got pulled down again. I think it's just some sort of algorithm that switches it on and off.
yeah, maybe.
Um, but it is rather irritating. But I'm sure it'll be ironed out
Yeah,
eventually.
yeah. I hope it gets sorted, because
Yeah,
I don't I can't think of anyone who would enjoy their work being pulled off repetitively, even after
yeah.
resolving one case or another, and then another case gets pulled down for whatever other reason, and
Mm.
yeah. There's all these other things where everyone's trying to find the right way to do things, and it's still always a minefield. And
It is absolutely.
yeah, it's but it's lucky that we've got friends like each other and other people in the music industry we can talk
Yeah.
to, and people can share comments, share us your likes, share us your opinions, and get in touch with Mr. Mars. He might even have advice, or I might even have advice that I can give you, or you could even give me advice. Where we're all at the same level of in the unknown, but happy to explore it together.
Well, the great thing is that we will learn new things. So sharing that is so important because we just give people each other nuggets of wisdom and to help us go through this, navigate through it all.
I like the super group catchphrase being used here. I love
Oh
that.
yeah, there is a bit.
This
Yes.
video is not going to get pulled down because of that catchphrase, is it?
No, it's not. Definitely not. I don't think it's been trademarked yet,
Not
as
yet,
yet.
no.
But I'm sure maybe it will. Finally, are you doing any live gigs you'd like to discuss, let people know about?
So I think at the moment I'm going to check my calendar actually,
Mm.
because I think December is one of those months where I've had to go a little bit quiet, because a lot of the work that I'm doing is actually more corporate and private functioned. But I
Yeah.
have got a sneaky little gig that I've secured myself on the 9th of December, which is at the Totnes Barrow House down in good old Devon.
All right.
Supporting a touring band called Langkamer, which is alternative country music, I believe.
Yeah.
And then I've got a nice little uh what are the gigs? Oh, where they at?
Alternative country or alternative to country?
I think it's, to be honest, I think both in a weird way,
Yeah.
because I was listening to the other day, and they do sound quite eclectic, but I'm still midway through my research of them, just to try and
Interesting.
dig it further. But they have caught my attention, and I am quite keen to hear more.
Mm.
But then the other two gigs are on the 15th of December. I'm down in deep Cornwall at Mousehole at the ever so glorious The Ship, doing a nice mix of originals and covers. And then I will be, I think, my last gig of the year, and this is one I'm very passionate about, because I've been trying to get into there for years. I'm playing at a place called the Ostler Inn,
Wow.
which is, yeah, it's nice to be going to a pub that you're named after,
Where's that?
in Ufcombe, on the 24th of December, so
Where
Christmas
was
Eve,
that again?
in Ufcombe.
Where's that?
It is it's in Devon. It's kind of
Ah, okay.
slightly west of Tiverton, I think it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So these dates going to be on your website.
Yeah, all those dates can be found on my website. So yeah, just come on in, and I think the only one that's got ticketed is the 9th of December at the Barrel House. But all the others, they're free entry. Come on in, and yeah, pull up a chair and come and have a dance.
Brilliant. Well, now everyone knows where to find you in the coming weeks. That'd be fantastic. So get down and see Chris play live at these wonderful venues,
Yeah, it'd be
and
great to
especially the
see you.
pub with his namesake, the Ostler Inn.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one. That'll be
That's
fun.
brilliant. Well, Chris, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, and wish you all the very, very best of luck and continued success with your fabulous writing. You're a great artist and a great person, and you deserve all the joys that this business brings you. And long may it continue, and hope to hear much more of your fabulous music in the future.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mars. And if you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen, if you've tuned in, or if you've tuned into this for the first time, please do look up Chris Mars music, and also tune into his YouTube subscription channel. And yeah, because he is just an all-round amazing musician and terrific, nice guy. You can take
Thank
that
you
in
so
quotes.
much.
Five
I will.
stars.
And just to let you know, all my links are also below.
Oh, just down
They're also
there.
down there. Well, they're going to be in the description too,
Oh,
if anyone's interested. but I'm sure they're going to be much more interested in your fabulous music now. So, Chris, thanks again. And it leaves me to do just one more thing to say. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel, Chris Mars Music, wherever you're listening, podcast or watching. And it's over and out, and see you again soon. Take care. Cheers for now.
Cheers.